that. Our High 8 camera has survived its final trip, this time north to Brisbane. Here's the Queensland Network report. Melbourne against Contax, and in view of the lineup that Melbourne have chosen, Anne, it's hard to know what to make of this match.
Yeah, I think both teams testing the waters. Of course, they'd like to win the match, but really there's a psychological advantage to be gained. It means nothing, though, when you turn up next week. Melbourne, it's hard to work out whether they're testing their versatility or putting out the camouflage, because it is a new-look attack line for them. I think their decisions in defence are tough to make, but I think they're going lightly with Janine Lynch. As for Contax, they're treating it with a lot of respect. It's the lineup you'd expect. The crowd will help Melbourne. I think we should just sit back and watch it. It's going to be a great game either way.
For Melbourne, it's a tough match looming for Southby and Bryant as they battle a good Contax defence. But they shouldn't be short of good feeds from Benison and Fleiner. You can bet Simone McInnes will be leading by example, and behind her, Taverner and Jenke will make it a difficult night for the young Adelaide attack end. Speaking of which, it's Purser and Delaney doing the scoring for Contax, and they've handled all pressure well to this point. Audine Cobb returns to wing attack now that Rebecca Sanders and Vicky Neal are back in the lineup. And it's Harvey and Sutter in the circle defence. So Margane Gove has her best 7 on court, allowing that Vicky Wilson hasn't played a game this MOBIL League season. Well, the uniforms are a little similar, but it's Contax in the lighter blue, running right to left. And in possession now, Purser, Sanders, who missed the match against Queensland because of an exam she had to sit. Looking after this match, Janelle Derrington and Sharon Burge, and I'm sure they're a little tense about this one as well, because got two very good sides out there, and the match will mean quite a bit.
Well, I guess umpires are playing off for places in the finals as well. They'll be judged on form through the series.
Southby levels it at 1-1 after 45 seconds. Holt, Delaney. McInnes just drifting in offside, attempting to get a touch to the ball. Delaney. Well, against Queensland, the Contax goalers shot well above their average for the season. Purser was 83%, Delaney 86% against Queensland. Their average through the matches prior to that was in the low 70s. Really had a field day.
It's a confident start in this match, though, from Delaney.
Southby to Benison. Megan Fleiner leaves it behind.
The Melbourne attacking lineup, somewhat of a surprise. We've seen Southby and Arnott pair up in other matches. Southby, I think, more a back shooter than she is a goal attack, particularly against the speed of Catherine Harvey. But maybe Melbourne hiding the line a little.
I think so. We've got Megan Fleiner out there and Ingrid Dick on the bench. Benison, Fleiner, Bryant, Benison, McInnes. McInnes and Cobb's going to be an enjoyable contest.
Yes, both two of the informed players of the series, and both very exciting to watch.
Bryant, Sutter's
and
rebound.
Both of them are players you and I shouldn't challenge in a sprint race.
No, and McInnes just pulls in a little intercept. Taverner to Fleiner. Sutter working hard on Bryant, and Southby got away from Harvey. Scoreboard's decided to confuse us by calling Melbourne the light side and Contax the dark side. And anyway, I think we'll get used to that. Bryant. It's only a problem for us here at the venue, not for viewers at home. Harvey. Sanders. Cobb. Cobb with the left thigh strapped. Has been carrying a couple of injuries. Delaney was out when she contacted the ball there, so it's a Melbourne ball. Benison, Southby, and a touch from Harvey means it ended up in the hands of Neil. McInnes now.
That was great watching Harvey and McInnes fly through the midcourt, then McInnes reading it well. And how often has she created something special for her side, Melbourne?
Well, Melbourne took the right option there. The ball over the top was the go, but wasn't quite positioned in the perfect way. Neither was Harvey then on the floor. 4 minutes gone, 3-3 the score. Melbourne defeated Contax last year, 46-40. I don't think Simone's decided to pull out something special in this match, do you?
They certainly didn't tell her to rest going into the playoffs. She's having a blinder of a game. It's only 4.5 minutes in, but the crowd thrilled by her performance so far. And look at that take as well. Over a third, though, she needed to haul it in within the third. Guess that's not her fault. That was the delivery.
Delaney, she shoot over Taverner. Jenke. Just think, and with these very strong defensive lines, there might be a low-scoring game.
That's true. The two lines are two of the more outstanding ones in the series. I think you'd have to put Sydney Energy combination in with that as well.
But if Jocelyn Bryant is on, she shot 79% against Sydney Synovus. She'll rattle in a few.
Contacting centre, penalty. Contacting goal defence, not holding, shuttle pass.
Contact against Harvey, goal to Southby. And a 2-goal lead to Melbourne. Delaney has it. Cobb. Ambitious ball for Purser.
Purser hasn't seen too much joy in this match. No attempts. And we're over 5 minutes into the game. Just then she was out of court.
Flyner.
Contacting goal shooter, penalty contact.
Well, there was a lot on that ball to Bryant, but she puts a contact on the way through to it. Taverner decides she'd like a piece of the action.
Yeah, she came a long
way
way
to get back into it.
She came a long way out, and that opened the circle up for Contax.
Vantage shooter obstruction. Wing attack hold.
Purser is a very much a confident shooter. She can start and put out flawless shooting, and other times she gets the stumbles and it's hard to get her back in there.
Southby works it across the circle for Flyner.
Whoa. Southby, oh, and another big spill there. Sutter and Bryant in back play, both wiping the floor.
Yeah, well, Southby was giving the glare to Janelle Darrington, saying, where was the contact?
She had a bit to say all the way down the court. She had to get her mind off that and get it back into the game.
Jenke bounces up to Benison.
Oh, and Sutter came out behind Flyner.
Flyner was grimacing in anticipation. I think Flyner thought she was going to get hit.
Contact keeper, you're holding, shuttle pass.
Bryant. And 6-3.
And Sutter here. We'll just see if we can pick up that spill between Bryant and Sutter. It's Harvey with the ball now. Sutter gets on the drive.
Contact centre
And you they certainly took the floorboards with them.
That's Vicky Neal picking herself up.
Back out, please, wing attack. Yes.
It was hard to see what actually happened there, but I'd say Sutter put the drive on and Bryant closed the space down on her.
Goal defence. Shuttle pass.
Obstruction against Harvey. Bryant to shoot. It's a very solid start from Melbourne.
It's difficult for the teams to know how much to invest in this game. Do they go all out and risk a physical game where you lose a player? Do they just play a measured game? I think sometimes there's no other way to play it than to win. It's very hard not to do that.
Well, there are Melbourne players chasing positions. That's their situation, whereas it might be a more settled Adelaide Contax preferred starting 7, but
Well,
You know, there are 3 defenders after 2 positions, that's for sure, on the Melbourne side.
quite a coup for Melbourne if they can take the win, knowing that they've got what most would think to be their starting 7, resting,
Contact wing.
certainly in the forwards.
Delaney lips out. Taverner takes it.
Delaney's gone off the ball from a fine start. She put up 3 from 4 to start. She's run in 4 misses in a row since then.
Benison to Flyner.
Advantage obstruction, goal defense.
Bryant works her way round. Oh, touch from Harvey. How's that for desperation? I bet she's glad it's a sprung floor because she's already been down there a couple of times.
Well, she doesn't know how not to try, does she?
Delaney. Purser. Created a good position for herself there and the goal. And the 4th one has been a long time coming.
Advantage wing attack break.
McInnes, Flyner. I thought Megan looked a little hesitant at the start of the match, but she seems to have found the combination quite nicely now.
Yeah, she's picked up the pace, started to find the spaces now. Bryant too moving nicely for Melbourne, and she of course is their import player. Just in back play, Bryant and Southby having a real head-to-head discussion about how they're going to work the circle. I think Southby will play a game in close range to the circle as a goal attack, so probably a more closed circle for them.
Well, they might be finding it a battle, but it's a battle they're winning at the moment.
Break, goal defense.
7-5 to Melbourne. Under 5 minutes left, first quarter.
Goal attack.
That was against Delaney. Taverner had good position, and Delaney ran on through it. Use of the shoulder.
Here's Taverner, Michelle Bernison. Bryant.
Good ball. It beat Harvey for angle. Not the offload, though. Southby will rue that pass off.
Came to Benison. Oh, and that's so short from Southby. Oh, Bryant, that's a rare mistake from Kath Harvey.
Even then, she tries to rectify it. This is a settler for Southby.
Harvey unhappy with her work in that little passage. Melbourne by 3.
Contact goal attack penalty.
It's against Delaney.
Delaney is one of the keys for Contax in successful performances. I think they really need her to come through with full games and solid netball for the whole 4 quarters. Oh, and that one wrapped Delaney around the post. Or
Yeah, well, she
Sharon
gave the
Birch
post
thought it was assisted by Taverner.
a shirt front to the post. She's all right. Let's see how Delaney. Oh, got the ball between the face and the post.
I think the feet put her under as much pressure as did the challenge from Taverner then. It really drove her into it.
Contacts back within 1.
Oh, Harvey is just hands to everything. That was great work from 3 feet, sitting hard on the ball. I think she's really started to reassert herself as the series has developed. Places on the line in the Australian team. So much pressure from young defenders like Lynch and Taverner that existing members like Harvey and Sutter have to be aware that places aren't guaranteed.
Benison, McInnes.
Of course, the national squad are in Melbourne this weekend, having training runs and also interviewing for captain.
And they're here. They're watching this match.
Sorry, right back, please, and around
To
further,
sneak a look at
shooter.
them in a moment.
Yes.
Jocelyn Bryant,
Advantage offside. Contacts.
Natalie Avellino from South Australia and the Australian squad. Garvel, her side, not making the semis this year. That'll be a disappointment to her and to Jenny Borlase. They're here with other duties in the Australian squad, and as we mentioned a number of times, 4 tests to be played this winter, 1 against South Africa and then 3 against New Zealand.
Delaney finding it hard going to make the circle. First it was McInnes who was holding her up, then Taverner.
Contacts bench, 8 all. 1:30 to go in the first.
It's a good recovery from Contax.
Contact.
Well, that was off Purser's fingertips.
Certainly was. Very surprised at that call. The crowd and you and I saw it differently to Sharon Burge.
The only thing I can think is Burge felt that she was out of court for some reason, but it looked quite clear to us. History now.
Through the hands of Bryant, quickly picked up by Contax.
They've got the numbers. Oh, look at the drive there from Audine Cobb. She's pretty to watch in flight.
Obstruction wing. Short.
Short pass, says Sharon Burge.
Vantage wing attack. Contact.
Well, that's a hard call to make nowadays when you see how little room the likes of Harvey Taverner work in to get around and get a touch and an intercept. I think they could get through that space. Great hand, Southby to Bryant.
And Joe Morgan in the middle there of Jenny Borlase on the left and Nicole Cusack on the right. See a little bit of it, there she is. So a few of the goalers for Australia.
Contact goal defense with the body. Shuttle pass.
Not too much barracking out of that group. Happy just to sit and watch, each to their own.
Cobb.
Oh,
look at this.
Inch perfect.
Well,
Time beats her.
she went for it because she must have seen the timekeeper get up. It was a bold ploy that nearly came off. And a good first quarter, a tight one. Melbourne lead Adelaide Contax 9-8. Contax start the second quarter in possession. Sanders across to Harvey. And Contax would have liked to have converted a bit more possession in the first quarter, I think.
Absolutely, the story, the stats on Jackie Delaney confirming that, Steve. 7 from 13. Jackie Delaney goal attack for Adelaide Contax, just 53%. They trail by just the one. They'd dearly have loved to put some of those through. 1 from 3 for Purser, so she's unavailable for Adelaide in that first quarter. Just 33%, unheard of for her, and very few opportunities. Melbourne steady, not brilliant, just steady. 5 from 8 for Bryant at 62%. Southby, 4 from 6 at 66. So the stats not impressive all round. Nobody higher than the 60s.
Contax put up 16 attempts to Melbourne's 14, but lost the quarter by 1. You see Jocelyn Bryant wearing the goal attack bib now. She and Southby have swapped it at quarter time.
I didn't think Southby looked absolutely comfortable there at goal attack. It probably wasn't their best options in shooting.
So
Jimmy stretched for that ball.
Yeah, good work. Didn't go undetected. I'll be talking to Jill McIntosh. Southby, sorry, Harvey.
Not before I do.
Yeah. Maybe Norma Plummer just working a little experiment in the first quarter. She's changed back to the conventional wisdom, I suppose. Bryant.
Contact goal attack.
Contact on Bryant in contesting for the rebound. Harvey. Contacts need one here. They've seen Melbourne taking a 3-goal lead now. Cobb. Purser. Oh, McInnes.
Well, that was a gift. Purser really not thinking through that pass. And that was a gift too. That was out of Southby's fingertips.
I just think we've got two brilliant defensive lines out there, and it's squeezing a lot of errors out of the feeders.
That's true. Southby, though, I thought was enjoying better form earlier on in the series. Their last match, whilst Melbourne won it, she left the court at half-time, and she was capable of far better than what she gave. Hasn't quite settled into this match yet either. She's a very talented young player, but there's still more to come from her in this one.
Taverner put a lot of good work over the ball there.
There's a rush shot from Jackie Delaney. I think we said earlier she's crucial for contact. She needs to settle.
Taverner, Flyner, Southby. Now Bryant for a 4-goal lead. And I'm sure that Norma Plummer inside is pleased. She doesn't give much away during the game in body language, but she's got to be thrilled with the way the Melbourne team has played the whole series. come to this match.
Oh, good ball from Bryant. Sorry to cut across you. She really saw the space well then and threaded it.
Eloise Southby with a couple of fans here. Yeah, Melbourne and Contax, actually, both 5 wins and a loss. They both lost to Sydney Energy, of course, who are undefeated.
Great steal then by Rosalie Jenke, who hasn't forgotten how to intercept. I think Melbourne are starting to run in some great form going into the playoffs. We've talked about the options they have, and they're quite horrifying for their opponents to realise the versatility and the talent in the line. And look at that from Taverner.
Timed that run beautifully to deprive Cobb of possession.
This is like a Taverner-Harvey contest.
Delaney. Contact against Delaney. Drops the ball in disgust, and Jenke will be made to take it from the right spot. She stole about 3 metres. She doesn't work in real estate, does she?
No.
Bryant.
Southby, she laboured on that move, but the timing on the pass was brilliant from Bryant.
This is working a lot better with Bryant out and Southby back. That was a terrific pass from Bryant. Wasn't a lot of room to fire it in.
Melbourne.
Bryant holds it up. Couldn't quite see Southby's move there, but she was quite laboured. It was all Bryant's timing, though, on the release.
Sarah Sutter has had a bit of an ankle injury, but
And she looks fairly distressed. Mind you, it's not happening for Contax, so she could probably do with the chance to get the head together. I'm not suggesting that's why she called it, but it's an appropriate time for them to regather their thoughts. It does look to be in a little bit of bother.
Mark Angove, coach, is coming out to hear the story. See if we can work out what might have caused this injury break. Sutter.
Oh,
right, yeah. She has landed on the foot, and Sutter's decided that's enough. It's a big blow for them.
It certainly puts another complexion on the game. Branford is a talented junior coming through the ranks, but that Sutter-Harvey combination is enviable.
Goalkeeper's ready to play on time.
Southby.
So that's a boost of confidence for the Melbourne shooting line as well.
Delaney. Cobb and Purser. They need a few. There's one. So, Jane Branford turned 19 just this week.
Melbourne penalty.
Southby got the hold on for the base there, and they put it over Branford nicely. That's what happens when you leave enough room behind you for the feeder to place the ball. Offload from Purser, knowing she was under pressure, considerable pressure from Taverner. Jenke with the bluff.
6-2 to Melbourne lead this quarter. Benison.
Bryant shakes off Harvey.
Obstruction.
Shakes it to the ground.
Pass or shot.
Southby's really opened up in the second quarter, become far more available, contributing more
Throw in. Melbourne.
in her play. She's put up 4 shots from 6. Bryant 3 from 6.
Branford then did everything except keep the ball in. Did enough to upset the shot. She's the only player near it, but out it went.
It's a very similar build to Sutter, so they lose nothing in physique. I think it's just experience and, of course, that understanding that's been established between Sutter and Harvey. Wardencott really working the spaces till she finds the gap. So much speed.
Sanders. Delaney anchors the right foot. Benison hurries back. She'd given Simone McInnes a little word on the way past, saying perhaps that it's coming to you. That's what happened anyway.
Holding
Oh, Harvey, swing and a miss. There are the Pumas, the girls that turned up in the black outfits.
They led their team on court. The run, what an honour for them. Run out their line.
Maybe the most famous Pumas sporting team is the Argentinian rugby side. They've been the Pumas for many years.
But their mascots aren't as cute. Oh, good contest there between McInnes and Cobb. Oh, and what a... They had a bit on it, that one to Delaney, but she got it away.
Cobb to Sanders. Oh, Delaney hits the floor, and there's been a contact call against Taverner.
It was unintentional by Taverner, but Delaney fell heavily from it. Taverner working there, yeah, she just wasn't intentional, but Delaney took the full force.
Cobb. Delaney gathers.
A lot of movement on the arm there from Taverner across the ball, almost close to an intimidation action.
It's a fair bit for the umpires to think about with that defence, isn't there? They're looking at distance, they're looking at a number of things, and to even...
It's also the timing is the hard thing to pick, the timing of the jump compared to the movement of the ball, and the 3-second call as well. There's so much on that release of the shot.
You don't actually see intimidation called a lot, is I guess what I mean, and maybe they're not... If umpires aren't looking for it, then they won't see it even if it's there for a little while, if they haven't had to call it for a few matches.
And you also have to make the decision, is it movement to stop the pathway of the ball, or is it intended to disrupt the shooter's vision to the post? That's the decision.
Oh, to Harvey to Delaney. Sanders.
Contact wing defence at the top.
Contact against McInnes.
Cobb reading that one beautifully. Purse is slipping along the baseline. That for 5 the difference. And a contact centre to follow.
So Sanders goes for Cobb. Delaney quickly offloads to Sanders. Up goes the shot. And down comes Taverner with it.
Melbourne look to be very composed to me. They look like they're playing measured, controlled netball. Contact's a little more urgency and panic in the game.
Well, there's a great peel off from Bryant. Breaking away from Harvey. And 6 is their lead, looking for 7.
Shooting combination for Melbourne developing into something quite nice. Bryant contributing a great deal to the line in this match, and the combination with Southby coming along well. Just notice that the entire Melbourne bench has gone to warm up behind the seats. Norma Plummer there, of course, still on the bench.
Well, if they're all warm, she's got the full range of options. Norma? It's not Melbourne's warmest night, so it's probably a good idea to keep the muscles moving.
Vantage offside, contact centre.
Sanders runs into Benison,
and that, the timing on that move where Southby just pops out off the baseline is nice to watch. Don't know how Cobb pulled that one in. I thought it was heading for you.
I was ready.
No, you weren't. Stop fibbing. And Contact's bench appalled by the decision. The shoulders slump. Cobb can't believe it herself.
Flyner to Southby.
Whole goal defence out.
It's just starting to tilt against Contacts. Just over 3 minutes remaining in the quarter. And Melbourne's starting to open up.
14-7, the Melbourne lead this quarter now.
Southby with 9 from 11. Bryant, 5 from 8.
Offside centre, free in the circle.
And Harvey a lot quieter in this quarter. Perhaps not the security of the understanding with Sutter there. But I think she's been less confident to come out on a lot of ball.
Contact.
And there's Ingrid Dick, Danny Arnott, Chris Harris with her back to the ball. warming up for Melbourne. Also Susie Howie and Janine Lynch weren't in that shot, but they're round there.
Beautifully placed high feed for Purser. Goal number 16 for Contax. As McInnes and Cobb hit the deck. And Southby hits the target.
Well, the floor's going to be mighty clean here at the Waverley Netball Centre by the end of this match.
Oh, Delaney, it should have been hers. Unless Taverner got a touch to it.
Taverner got the touch and then it went off Delaney's fingers, so spoilt nicely by Taverner.
Flyner, Southby, Flyner.
And Melbourne have threat written all over them going into the playoffs.
Well, interestingly, Melbourne lost by more to Sydney Energy than did Contax. Sydney Energy beat Melbourne 57-49, but only 52-49 against Contax.
Goal attack, Contact.
Calls against Jocelyn Bryant.
Bryant hasn't been as effective in goals as she'd like to be, but she's had a great feeding role connecting with Southby and allowed her 11 shots, only 2 misses for Southby. So the combination proving to be far more effective than it was in the first quarter when they had Southby out and Bryant back. Just the 9 goals in that first quarter, and they've put up 17 in the second. Significant difference.
Touch over a minute left until half-time. And Melbourne not disappointing this home crowd with a second quarter effort that could be setting up the win.
Just noticed Harvey then all eyes on her own player rather than watching the swing of the ball, which she normally would do and come out on it. So the success Melbourne have found in the change of lineup has altered the way Contax are playing their defensive game. More hesitant, more conservative.
Sarah Sutter replaced fairly early in the quarter.
It was an unhappy little face, wasn't it?
Should be all right for the semi-finals. We'll hope so. Southby.
And 11 the difference going into half-time. That hurts.
Sanders, Harvey under pressure and can only feed it back inside to Benison.
Goalkeeper. Pass or shot?
Ball goes against Jane Branford.
Yes, shooter.
And Southby makes them pay as the timekeeper gets up to let Sharon Burge know that that's the end of the second quarter. Oh, it's been a beauty for Melbourne. They've scored 20 goals. And now they lead Adelaide Contax as they go to the big break, 29-17.
I hope I didn't give too much cheek to the umpires, actually, at all. There might be times where you might have felt that a decision went the wrong way or something, but everybody's human, and particularly now that I'm involved in umpiring, I mean, you've realised that people do make mistakes, so it just means that you've got to do something better the next time or be more determined to get the ball back.
Melbourne take the first centre pass through. Ingrid Dick, who replaces Michelle Benison. That's the only change to report to you as we look at the shooting stats
Well, the
from the second quarter.
Possession telling the story for Contax. 26 shots for Melbourne against Contax 14. So they were killed in the amount of ball they disposed to their shooters. And Eloise Southby, 14 from 16. That's a mammoth workload from her, 87%. So she really lifted herself in the second period. Bryant moved to goal attack and put up 6 from 10. So she's still sitting in the 60s. For Contax, good accuracy from Sharon Purser with 6 from 7. Jackie Delaney, as we've mentioned, is key for them and dropped down to 42. So the story not good in terms of possession or accuracy for Contax.
Harvey takes a rebound. Perhaps we shouldn't be surprised that Southby's capable of those kind of stats when she's been shooting over 80% across the series. Has been down in odd quarters, but generally she's been pretty good.
No, it was the first quarter that was more the surprise. She was well below her best, and she seems to have rectified that now.
McInnes to Taverner.
Vantage, wing attack, Contact.
Ingrid Dick back to McInnes. Flyner works it through Vicky Neal. Dick to Fleiner.
Interesting, Steve, that Melbourne haven't elected to expose Janine Lynch in this match. She returned from injury in their last match against Sydney St Ives and had a fine first half before being rested.
Delaney to Cobb. Oh, and Purser's open if they can get it to her.
Contact over here.
Taverner just clipping Purser as she ran in to assist and back up Jenke. Well, that was a confident shot, or rather a lack of confident shot from Delaney.
Contact on the arm, goal defence.
Harvey got a piece of Bryant's arm. Shot was well short, but not the second attempt. Bryant. Dick to McInnes.
Contacting wing defence.
Well, a great take by Ingrid, but there was also contact against Vicky Neal.
Contacting goal defence. Shuttle pass.
Southby
Obstruction, both out.
with no opposition now.
Ingrid Dick, replacement centre, trying to keep the ball alive.
Fancy
It's
jump
a little
side.
like she found the outside of the court to me.
Oh, it doesn't matter. She got the contact call anyway. Certainly the foot hit the ground outside the court before she got it back in, but the whistle was for something that happened just before that. And Ingrid Dick takes the centre pass with a 33-19 lead for Melbourne.
Contact, keep up.
And Southby back to being rock solid.
That's a 5-2 start to the quarter for Melbourne. They're getting on with the job. What a luxury for Norma Plummer to be able to make these changes. Another one in the mid-court with Dick coming on for Benison.
We were almost trying to play down whether there was any psychological advantage in winning this game, but that was more from a perspective of if it was close. And there's Norma Plummer there, coach for Melbourne. That was more along the lines of if it's close and you win, you can't really take too much away from it. But if you lose by this margin, that's a bit of a dent in the psyche.
This side. Play.
Jane Branford to Harvey.
Vardy offside, shooter.
Cobb and Purser.
That was a delightful move from Contax. And again, good, strong, clear approach to the circle.
Obstruction centre.
Nearly 5 minutes gone in the third. 13 the lead. Make it 12.
Melbourne.
And Delaney just casts a look at the scoreboard.
It's so easy to forget how some teams in this series have recovered from bigger margins than this and really run it home.
Throw in on the side.
Harvey could try to keep it in, but it's Melbourne ball.
So if Contax want to save some face, they do well to remember Melbourne's match against Sydney Energy, where they were completely overhauled in the first quarter, but in the third made a remarkable recovery and closed the gap.
Goal defender, obstruction, shuttle pass. Obstruction, both out.
So Mahagangove, a drink of comfort, it's probably only water. Yeah, I didn't mean Southern Comfort.
Keeper obstruction. Yes, attack.
Delaney.
Throw in, Melbourne. No, base, sorry.
Jenke to take it. And 6 minutes gone in the third quarter. Melbourne steady as she goes. Fleiner.
Wing. Vardy offside, centre.
Well, precision netball there from Melbourne.
Penalty, Melbourne.
Placement good on those passes, clean and crisp.
And Vicky Neal and Rebecca Sanders might be wondering why they moved heaven and earth to get here for this match.
Well, you do have to take that into account, though, don't you? They've made Mercy missions to get here, both of them. One from work, one from exams and going back to exams. So that's a hard way to step out and play netball at this level.
Saw fingertip control a moment ago from Jane Branford to work the turnover. Contacts badly need to convert it. Purser doesn't let the defence end down.
4 straight for Purser.
Advantage, wing attack break.
Goalkeeper contacting shot or pass.
Southby. Says, let's go to Melbourne. She'd love another turnover and another shot at goal, but it's
Offside centre.
a good try from Ingrid Dick.
Southby's again dominating at the start of this quarter. She's put up 5 from 6.
Offside, free pass.
McInnes offside. Sharon Burge, the
Yes,
umpire at that end.
Advantage,
Almost
contact,
lose her in the
wing.
white wall with her white uniform.
Melbourne.
Melbourne restore the lead as it was at half-time. It's 12.
Goal defence, centre third.
Sorry, it was contact shooting to reduce it to 12. Now for 13.
Contact goal defence, shot or pass.
That one had a bit of body on it, so fair call by Janelle Derrington. I think frustration creeping into the contacts game.
Sanders. Purser coming out this time.
Instruction centre. Yes, swing.
Delaney trying to find the space, but Taverner denying her at every turn.
Pass or shot.
And Jenka defending Purser.
Contact, both out.
This shot would still only have a goal-for-goal contest between the two teams in this quarter, and still contacts trailing.
Yeah, contacts need a few turnovers, and the sooner the better. We go into the last quarter trailing by 10 or more. And
Hold time, please.
that's all there'll be. I think Melbourne won't let that kind of lead go.
In the circle, on the whistle. Throw in midway, contact.
Well, Southby's body movement trying to fool the defence.
Play.
They weren't particularly. Ouch. Down goes Bryant. Felt that one.
Chairs moved. Oh, well smothered by McInnes. Like a blanket to a fire. And she is on fire in this game.
Flying at a Southby.
Advantage, contact.
Not sure why Southby checked her feet then.
Shot or pass.
The eyes went down to see what was going on.
Where you are with goal attack here. Instruction from the side. Goal advantage.
One more to Bryant. 13 the lead. Good work done up the field.
Watch McInnes here. She doesn't concede at all from in front of the ball. Works right across the line.
Flying her back to the captain.
Advantage, obstruction, wing attack.
Oh, nice work by Melbourne. They moved it nicely.
Another advantage or bonus for Norma Plummer is that if there's nothing between players like Ingrid Dick or Michelle Bennison or Susan Howie, is that she could just decide to put on fresh legs in those demanding centre court positions and not lose anything.
Oh, that's true. I mean, I was just looking at the line, trying to work out how the heck she's going to play the semis. You're almost worth taking bets on who the 7 will be, because very tough to make the call. And Lynch warming up, and Howie at the back of the court now, so she might confuse us even further with changes going into the last quarter.
Contact, goal defence, pass or shot. Yes,
Well,
Scott.
Danny Arnott, having played more than Bryant, might consider herself unlucky if she doesn't start, but Jocelyn Bryant has made the most of every opportunity. There's Bennison on the right and Chris Harris the left.
Well, it's all about timing, isn't it? It's about stepping out in pressure matches and producing the goods, and perhaps Plummer will be swayed by the fact that getting close to the big games, form's coming through from Bryant.
15 the lead now for Melbourne. Maybe the Melbourne crowd weren't expecting a margin like this, but they'll happily take it. Southby back play, I think, is counting her teeth. Sorry, Harvey, that's Southby. As Harbs was thinking about calling time. I think she got a knock to the face. Takes the mouth guard out or something.
She's thinking about putting one in.
Yeah. Doesn't play with one, does she? Sally Ironmonger does. A few players do.
Oh, quite a few players nowadays. You can understand it given the amount of physical contest in the game. Floorboards hurt. Elbows hurt. Noses hurt.
Southby now. Held ball against Melbourne.
Contax virtually brought to a standstill by Melbourne. Not a healthy scoreline.
2.5 minutes left in the third.
Vantage keeper obstruction.
There was some speed on that work by Contax and a great shot from Delaney to finish the movement. Just her third for the quarter. It's understanding there. Purser tries to rectify it, hauls it in, keeps it alive.
Centre contact. Contact's penalty.
13-10. Melbourne lead this quarter. Most of the damage done in the second. 20-9.
Contact keeper.
Hard to shoot when the post has that much movement.
Yeah. Moving targets are harder to hit.
Melbourne.
Under 2 minutes left now as Flyner looks. Got it. Oh, I nearly got the umpire too.
Bryant taking too much body on that contest. Harvey will take the penalty for Contax.
Cobb.
Let's keep our diction clear here for the distinction between a contact call and the Contax team.
That's it. Yeah. Cobb had her back absolutely to the pass then from Harvey, so that's why the turnover. Unusual kind of breakdown in communication for Contax and Flyner.
Well, the outside working well around the circle for Melbourne. Ingrid Dick and Megan Flyner.
Cobb now. Delaney.
Hard to imagine that even Sarah Sutter could have made much of a difference in a scoreline that sees Melbourne dominating. Mark Ango with a few problems as to where they go from this loss. And only a few days to do it. Good intercept there from Branford. Covered the move well from Southby.
Contax urgently looking for another goal before three-quarter time.
Goal defence, pushed off.
But that call will go against Taverner, who wanted to run it all the way up the court, I think.
Bring it around, shooter.
Get away from the scene of the crime.
Yep, defence this side now. Yep.
Purser.
Obstruction, both out. Where you are, shooter.
Time is up.
Melbourne.
And Ingrid Dick hesitated just long enough, got away with that one. 14 the lead for Melbourne. It was by 12 at half-time. They're not giving in here. And 43-29 they lead it. So for Melbourne, it's not much more than a training run this last 15 minutes.
Vantage offside. Then offside centre.
See what happened in the third quarter, shooting stats-wise. 17 opportunities apiece there.
But Eloise Southby continuing on her winning way. Take away the first quarter and she's had a fine game. 9 from 11 in that third quarter, 81%. Jocelyn Bryant lifting to 83%, so she's on target now with 5 from 6. Contax 2 in form through Sharon Purser, 8 from 10. But again, Jackie Delaney not achieving what she liked, just the 57% with 4 from 7.
New goalkeeper on for Melbourne is Janine Lynch, and new goal attack is Danny Arnott. So Rosalie Jenke and Jocelyn Bryant are off.
Goal attack, contact.
And they're using Janine Lynch sparingly. She's just returned from broken scaphoid bone. And they'll be bringing her in bit by bit. But she had a fine introduction in the last match, and it's really put some decisions out there for Norma Plummer. Nice take there from Sharon Purser.
Sanders drops it on the deck for Delaney. Quite hear the call about Purser and the post. What did she do? Use it?
Using the post, I think, leaning against it.
Back, please, keeper beside her. Back, please.
Lynch to McInnes. Dig to Fleiner.
Vantage offside, goal attack.
Oh, the hands were too quick, really. Southby didn't catch an eye full of the intended target, I think, which was Arnott.
I think we're going to have to throw Janine Lynch in as another contender for our Inspector Gadget Arms Award. Very lean defender and a great mobility in arms, just seemed to come out of nowhere to take miraculous intercepts.
I can tell you and I have watched too much kids' television, can't you?
Yeah. Up they go.
Well, that could have been a pass for Lynch, really. That was a poorly directed effort from Delaney.
Ingrid Dick put out of position momentarily. She puts the drive on now. In fact, she's still in no man's land. They just work around her.
And Southby. Arnott.
Oh, nice ball from Arnott to Southby.
Oh. What a way to reward a quick passage to the circle. One that would destroy what confidence is left in the Contax line for this game. They have to be a little knocked around by what's happened, even.
Oh, beautiful ball there from Delaney onto Purser. That was magic.
Oh, I'll take it all back. That was lovely.
Well, you have to watch closely, and it's Delaney we want. Next ball now. What a bullet.
Back arm. Hustle shot.
Well, there have been patches from Contax, but it's the stringing it together, as Melbourne have done with great consistency, that wins the game.
Delaney does have very quick and sure hands.
Obstruction centre, back up.
Cobb to Purser. A lot of jostling going on in the circle there, and picked out contact against Taverner, so Purser can shoot now.
Delaney just pulling herself out of shooting a little and offloading to Purser. Purser's been on strike, more so of the two throughout the game.
Arnott. Across to Ingrid Dick. Arnott drives along the baseline and bounce pass all but beat Kath Harvey.
Just outside halfway, yep. Play!
Thank you, ma'am.
I think the whole stadium heard that gasp.
Susie Howie on left of camera, smiling at the pass. Rosalie Jenke is done winding from her big effort.
Throwing contact, wing area. Play.
Jocelyn Bryant, Steve, on the bench, having her right hand strapped quite significantly.
Purser. It's 14 the lead. Yeah, Darren Marks, the physio for Melbourne, quite busy there. Jocelyn doesn't seem to be in pain.
Now they've strapped ice onto the right wrist. Perhaps precautionary. Boom, Southby on target. She's had a fine game in goals. As we said, the first quarter was well below her best, but she rectified that. 6 from 7 in the close.
I know what it is with Jocelyn Bryant. They're just cooling down the hot hand. Vicky Neal. Harvey. Cobb. Delaney. Again,
Well,
quick hands through Delaney.
You don't really know. Kate, our statistician, who is a Melbourneite, just informed me that she injured the thumb in their last match. against Sydney Synovus. But it was a good pun. One I would expect from you at some stage in the game.
Sanders to Delaney.
Out of nowhere came Lynch.
And a rare poor disposal from McInnes. Needed a bit more help, really, though, from her teammates.
Pat on the rump from Harvey to Branford to say, well done. Good commitment from Branford, because it would have been easy to pull out. There was a lot of congestion there on that intercept.
Dick to McInnes.
And she was expecting Southby to pop out, but she's a bit slow to offer. And they'll work it around another way as Harvey goes down in a heap. Almost run over by a couple of the players.
Arnott makes the most of it as Bryant and Benison have a chat. Don't need to worry about the result of this, really. 8 minutes to go. 15 the difference.
Oh, and almost an alley-oop from Delaney. Had 2 on her.
It's the underarm. Is that legal?
Absolutely. Any captain can call it now game.
Purser.
Melbourne. Vantage, wing break. Vantage, contact, goal attack, offside.
Kavanagh, Flyner, Southby, Dick, and
Goalkeeper.
Yeah,
penalty.
Southby was virtually run out of position past the ball by Branford. 7 for Southby. Yeah, short pass. Not enough room for a third player to move between hands of the deliverer and the receiver.
Purser didn't much enjoy the call.
Contact, shooter.
Shot a disagreeing look at Janelle Derrington.
Varney's contact, goal
Yes, when you trail by that many goals, they all seem
Contact centre.
horrid calls.
Arnott.
There's a hush in the stadium. They're almost expectant of the quick hands from Arnott to Southby.
It's actually a millisecond of hesitation from her before she let it go. Southby.
Advantage offside. Goalkeeper,
Again, great
contact,
positioning
pass
outside the
offside.
circle from the Melbourne feeders.
Keep it beside, please.
I think Norma Plummer would have to be well pleased with the way Flyner has settled into the line. Yet another option. Too many of them for Norma, perhaps. Off the head of Cobb into the arms of McInnes.
Too much from Flyner.
Wing area. Play.
Wrong direction from Southby. Not a good combination.
Neal, Sanders, Delaney.
Goal defence, goal third.
So Taverner's caught.
Varney's obstruction
Sorry.
centre.
Well, that's worth another look. 2-on-1. Lynch goes up with the outside arm, the arm nearest the ball, not the player, hauls it in beautifully.
Contact, wing defence.
So 54-36. Well, Taverner was caught out of the circle. Lynch was back all on her own.
Vantage,
And watch how she goes up, the arm away from the player. Great work.
Melbourne. Play.
Southby. Harvey. Neal.
Varney's contact centre.
Delaney.
Well, she nails that one. That's a third for the quarter.
4.5 minutes to go.
Varney's obstruction
Again, probably can't come quickly enough for contacts, except they probably need the time on court. Get a little more used to this Melbourne line.
Call me silly, but I think Melbourne are enjoying this match.
Vantage
Dick
centre
to Arnott to
obstruction.
Southby.
Hold goal defence, pass or shot.
Harvey's abrupt stop signalling her displeasure with the call.
Arnott.
Advantage, full swing defence.
Southby. Oh,
Oh, just shooting practice for Southby. She runs it home. 10 from 13.
confidence evident in this Melbourne line.
Well, they've not been close-range shots. They've been happy to put them up from anywhere.
Purser over Lynch.
Purser 6 from 7.
Vicky Wilson. Let's go a smile on the Contacts bench. I don't think we're not going to see her, are we, in Adelaide?
No, it's unlikely that she'll hit the court in the series. She was optimistic of getting there for these last few matches, but when she underwent a Cybex test prior to Easter, they found the strength was down from what they were hoping for, and they readjusted the program. She's on target now for selections for the national team and hopes to get on court for those final trials.
Well, McInnes sends back a long ball to Arnott.
Melbourne.
Harvey, on an unhappy day, ends up caressing the post.
And such a fine start from her, but team's gone off the boil and it's hard to keep going solo.
Harvey to Neil to Harvey. Delaney, Sanders.
Oh, thought the move was onto the post then from Purser. She took the harder option, made the move away, but Shaw with the shot, that's a 7th.
Purser was putting on so many moves there. Sanders was doing well to pick her up. 2 minutes to go. 56-39.
Contacting goal defender, shot or pass. Just where she is. Melbourne.
Delaney, another. I think the quality of Melbourne's defence is underlined by the fact that Contacts have never been held to a score this low. I mean, the next lowest score is 49 against both Garvel and Sydney Energy. And they're going to be held to the low 40s here.
Fancy shooter obstruction.
Delaney slipped on the far side of the court, used the ball to try and steady herself. She gave the court a second glance before she moved away, so perhaps some perspiration over there.
Obstruction from the
And this is also the most goals that Contacts have conceded in any match so far. Only let Sydney Energy score 52, and they're unbeaten.
Well, now's the time to find that sort of form.
Melbourne. Play.
I'm sure Contacts will welcome the return of Harvey to the semi-finals. Sorry, for Sutter. Assuming her ankle is all right.
Sutter's integral in the way their backline operates. Member of the national squad. So a lot on the line for her, and she's looking to happier nights.
A couple of late misses from Melbourne. Neil, Sanders, congested on this side, but it's cleared out by Delaney. Cobb to McInnes only, and Victorian captain produces another intercept in the dying seconds. And so Branford helps out to turn it over the other way.
Melbourne. Hold time, please.
Timekeeper is up, as you can see, is with Sharon Burge. So we've probably seen the last of the scoring. That'll do it. Well, that's nice form to take into the semi-finals for Melbourne. And an appreciative crowd here at Waverley. Can't be with the side next week, but they know they'll send them on their way in great touch. And Norma Plummer is well pleased as she looks down at the stats her manager's been keeping. Contacts with a few things to work out, but they will have the home crowd next week for the semi-finals at the Powerhouse. Melbourne 57, Contacts 41. And Sargent is with Mark Angove.
Thanks, Steve. Well, Mark, perhaps not the result you were hoping for.
No, not, you know, the last game before a semi-final is not, the result certainly wasn't how we wanted it, but Melbourne really played very well and starved us of opportunities, I thought.
That was the case. Melbourne exploiting the depth in the line and all of them coming out very strong. Any particular area, though, of concern to you?
Well, at first half, I didn't think we, got enough of the ball. I didn't think we were strong enough to it, and it was something that we'd spoken about. So we really have to work hard on that, of making the effort to get there and then, re-offer and back up and stuff like that. I thought our defenders in the first half worked very well. It was a disappointment losing Sarah Sutter, but overall our penalty count was horrendous, I would say. So we just got to tidy that up as well.
I agree with you. I thought it was a fine start from the defensive combination. What is the news on Sarah with that ankle?
I haven't checked it yet, Anne, but she did have a twinge last week, and physio just thought it wasn't worth risking tonight, given that we've got to play again next week. So I'm sure she'll be okay, but it's just a slight sprain.
And while we're talking injuries, the news not good on Vicky Wilson. You won't be able to get her into the line for the semis?
Well, we're just going to keep tight-lipped about it. You never know your luck in a big city, and if the orthopaedic surgeon said she was ready, then obviously we would have a look at what we could do. But besides that, we've just got so much more work to do all over the court, not just up one end or in one position.
Well, best of luck the next time you step out.
Thanks, Annie.
Well, the 7 rounds of the 96 Mobile League have now been played. Let's see how the teams finished up at the end of the regular season. Unbeaten and, of course, in top position, Sydney Energy. Then follow Melbourne, Contax and Sydney Synovus, who'll be in the semis. Garvel finished in 5th position on 6 points. The bottom 3 all recorded just the 1 win, but on 4 and against, Queensland finished 6th, the AIS 7th and Fremantle 8th. The semi-final lineup is 1 against 4 and 2 plays 3. So it's Sydney Energy playing Sydney Synovus, and Melbourne and Contax will go round again. Contax looking for a quite different result. We'll be at the Adelaide Powerhouse for the semis and the final. Check your local guides for times. But next Saturday promises plenty of great netball. So can Sydney Energy make it back-to-back titles and make history? Or will Contax, Melbourne or Sydney Synovus get their name on the cup? I hope you can join us in Adelaide when we find out. But for now, from Melbourne, I'm Steve Rebillard. Goodbye from ABC Sport.